So dark. Yeah.
And welcome to season 6 of Outstanding Women Leaders, Witty and Wise Conversations. I'm your host, Katie Eads, founder and chief owl at Outstanding Women Leaders, professional coaching and podcast, an organization dedicated to empowering women in leadership, relationships, and life. Owl is on a mission to host 100 million witty and wise conversations that inspire you, disrupt the way leaders think, and stir your soul into aligned action. We have 4 rules today to guide our conversation. Nobody gets to be wrong. Nobody gets to be right. Everybody gets to be vulnerable. And my favorite, everything is included. We do not edit here. This conversation is exactly what it needs to be in this moment in time. We've asked our guests to join us via video to allow us to create authentic connection. Eyes are the window to the soul. You'll be seen here. You'll be heard. There is space for you. When this conversation comes to a close, I will ask our guests 3 questions. If you've tuned in before, you know what they are. And if you haven't, you don't want to miss them. But enough about me. Today, I'm excited to welcome Carmen. Carmen, I never asked you your last name. Carmen, what's your...
Anderson. You know what? I'm so happy you asked that because I feel like I don't have a last name. It's just
that makes sense because I'm pretty good about making sure I ask people their last names. So welcome, Carmen. Carmen believes we are part of a unique spiritual geometry. She spent years in the corporate finance world in the US, and her heart eventually led her back to her roots in Peru to explore the unseen threads of our emotions and ancestry. In 2012, she left the corporate ladder, embarking on that decade-long journey of healing and deconditioning that led her through Bali and eventually home to the Sacred Valley. In 2021, her path found its focus, the powerful intersection of sacred plant medicine and the wisdom of human design and gene keys. She discovered that while sacred plants like ayahuasca and San Pedro offer deep cellular healing and ancestral release, the gene keys provides the map. They give us a language for the mind to finally understand and forgive the shadows we carry. Today, she is guided by her prime gifts, the 47, the 22, the 45, and 26, and she organizes healing retreats in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Alongside a group of kind and loving facilitators, she works with ancestral medicines like ayahuasca, kambo, bufo, using astrology, human design, and the gene keys as deep integration tools. Together, they hold a safe space to help people remember and reconnect to their true essence. Her life's work is to hold a safe, compassionate space for your transformation. Welcome, Carmen, with no last name.
I like it like that. Do you want me to begin there? Do you want me to begin there, the no last name?
Sure. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll dive into your corporate background and how you left.
It came in an ayahuasca ceremony that I am cleansing so much of the ancestral memory, all of the limitations. Wow, emotional authority here. I'm going to start crying. Yeah, I mean, all the things that we're told by society, by our families, environment. Yeah. So I've been on a journey of cleansing all of that and just being me without none of that. That's what human design calls it the deconditioning process. You know, just start like going back to your essence, what you brought to this incarnation to give. These are your gifts. But while you have all of these scripts, all of these things that you gotta follow, all of your gifts are hidden. This is what Richard Rudd keeps telling us. Our gifts are hidden under the shadow, Everything is hidden. So it's a long journey. I'm not saying that I had mastered my gifts. It is a path. It is a path. And yeah, when I jump into the corporate world,
Yeah. So you have we kind of jumped ahead to where your path starts to shift, but take me back to like how did you were born in Peru, is that correct?
Yeah, I was born here.
Yeah. So how do you make your way to the United States in finance and corporate? And then how do you escape? That's what everybody wants to know right now.
You know, I'm just gonna, I mean, for those of you that are not into human design, maybe I'll bring some human design words as I keep describing and walking you into my journey. But I was 21, 22 years old. I graduated from college in economics. And I had a few friends that were going to the US to do an internship. And they have done all of their paperwork to go there. And they invited me like 1 week prior to going, but they were working on this like 3, 4 months getting prepared. And my 57, which is all about intuition, it hit really hard, you know? And I was like, okay, I guess we're going to the US. I had no money. Well, I was a college student and I was relying on my parents at the time. And my friend said, I'll pay for everything. And if you get the visa, all of the, the requirements, you just pay me back. And I said, fine. I mean, this wasn't even her money. It was her dad's money. And everything happened within a week. I moved to the US. And it was funny because I was supposed to go into I was going to do a master's degree. I don't even know why. Because now that I'm at 45, I can tell you that I'm more connected to my calling. But back then, I was so into the what society expects you to be. You need the master's degree, you need the PhD, you need, oh my gosh, all of these labels. And I said, yeah, sure, let's go, let's get that business degree. So I get to the US and I'm like 2 weeks in Boston. And then my aunt calls me from Utah and she invites me to come visit her. And then, I moved to Utah. I meet a family and invites me to her house. The lady just delivered a baby. I moved into the house. Well, I'm moving to Utah. Like everything changed and no plans, no, nothing, no plan A, B, C, D, nothing. So I'm there with her. And so I get into like English as a second language course at the University of Utah, I believe. Yeah. And then, I'm doing like all of these courses and I meet my husband a few months after, I think. But everything that I planned out when I left Peru, nothing happened. I actually got into banking, Wells Fargo initially, and then Chase Bank. And that's how the corporate world kind of continued because I was already doing an internship here in Peru for banking. And then I became a teller, business banker. I got some licenses. I don't even remember. But I became one of the top bankers in America, for 7, 10 years. So, and at the time that was beautiful. And a part of me wanted to achieve all of that. And this is where the inner child is so important because at the time I didn't know that I was doing all of these things to achieve recognition, to achieve just to be recognized. I didn't know that subconsciously I was doing it to get to my father because I didn't grow up with my father. My dad is a mental projector and he has the 32 and 45 in the primary spots in his design. It's all about money and finances. So that's how I got his attention. And somehow that was the drive that I had to keep going. And I got to be recognized. I have to be at the top. I have to, So it drove me. And I was like really good at it. I mean, I have some channels and activations that makes me a salesperson. But I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was doing it to please my dad. I was doing it to get my dad's attention. I mean, it took me like 20 years to realize that. But now I'm here and I'm like, oh, wow, poor Carmen, all she had to do to get dad's attention. So I don't know if you have any questions because I can keep talking. Mercury. I was telling you, Mercury, I could talk for hours and you'll never get a chance to speak. So please go ahead.
No, I'm hanging on every word. I always love to hear how people choose to come over here. And every time I hear someone's story, it's never planned. It's not like your dream as a kid was to come to the US and work in finance. And to me, this is why the conditioning process is so important, is we need to be conditioned to have some experiences. And if your path was always meant to lead you where it is, it sounds like it was an important part of your path.
Oh,
I can't
yes.
imagine what it was like to be in Utah doing that as well. Of all the places in the US that you would
I
end up
know.
in, Utah doesn't sound like the best.
I know because there is so much conditioning about religion.
Mhm.
And wow, I watched so many people being like hidden, under their clothes, under so many masks just to be who they're not, just because religion tells you that you should be behaving in a certain way. Oh, you're triggering me at some points because when I was in banking, I remember there was a bunch of ladies that they come, they go dressed up beautifully, and I used to drink wine. I don't drink wine anymore, but they would make it sound like I was an alcoholic just
Mhm.
because wine was the drink of my preference at the time.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, condition is so big in Utah. The judgment, woo, because I didn't fit there. Even though I was trying really hard to fit there. I didn't
Mhm.
become part of the church, but I was surrounded by many people who were part of the church. So keep
Yeah.
going.
And what better person to surround by, just because your energy is really designed to transmute pain and suffering. And what an amazing whenever I take a wrong turn, which every time I drive I take a wrong turn, I've now looked at it as my energy needed to be spread over there. I don't know who needs to feel my energy on this road, but that's why I'm here. And your energy is so powerful. I imagine that perhaps without even knowing it, you may have manifested some people out of their conditioning simply by being there.
Who knows? But now that you mention it, I've had many people when I was in the banking world that told me that I empower them. I mean, I'm a
Mhm.
manifestor. You know, whatever your design is, even if you don't know your design, you come somehow you're living. You have traits of that design. And I was like telling the right things to people just to get them. So you're a little bit not so sure. Okay, we're just gonna push you, and boom. Okay, you're gonna start that business. Because I sat with hundreds of people over the years and watched them go over so many of their business journeys, and some failed. Like an entire movie for each person. I wish I had human design back in the day because I've always been interested in psychology and astrology, but never went deep. So I couldn't help him with tools. I mean, I was just given the best with the knowledge I had. But now
Mm.
I looked at their designs. I'm like, you're designed to do this. Okay, let's get what's getting underneath. What's the pain? What's the suffering? What's insecurity? What is making you not jump? So yeah, I love human design. I love Gene Keys because it tells you the story. Why people are not able to embody their design. So keep
And
going.
you're yes, because you have this beautiful story. So you're in the corporate finance world. You're really great at sales. You're rocking out. We'll have to talk offline about somebody else I knew there that was great at sales. See if you ever met at those conferences. And then you decide to leave corporate. And this is where every woman is sitting right now I talk to, is wanting to leave corporate. What was that experience like?
Ooh,
How did you decide, and what happened?
it was like that, probably like a year of planning with the head. And this is where I always tell people, I mean, the head will want to know all the answers. The head will want you to know every step ahead. All I mean, especially if you're like a Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus that need stability, need safety, you're gonna want to have a plan. Well, it took me like a year. I remember I had a hot tub, and my husband at the time, we were like, we would look at the stars and dream. I have a Pisces rising. and my second key is the 22, which is a Piscean key. This is something that I have to learn. It's not something that I'm comfortable with, just going with the flow. The Virgo aspect wants to have all the plan, the certain things, like the day, the time, the hour, everything, where we're heading next. And the Piscean is like, let's just flow. So I went into depression, like after a year of dreaming, how I was going to leave the corporate world. That was 2012. That was a big awakening, 2012. I got up one day. I remember crying in my office, emotional manifestor. I was like, oh. And I got up and I said, no more of this. I called my manager and I said, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. No, I didn't talk to my husband. I didn't know anything. None of what I was going to do. And I bought my plane ticket to Bali. And 2 weeks after I left. And a new chapter began. I told you, the first time that I didn't get a paycheck, or first month, being used to, I used to make good commissions. I was so used to I'm a Virgo, earth signs. We need safety. We need to feel safe. I didn't have none of that. And I was like, whoo, my goodness, my world is going to collapse. I felt like everything was collapsing. Actually, things were collapsing because I was used to that income. But at the same time, I had some rentals. But I never thought that they could support me for some reason, because my lifestyle was so different. I was used to going to the opera and alcohol. That was the source of entertainment that I had at the time. So my money was going into funny places, So I had the money to travel. So I left, and then my husband followed me a month or 2 months after I went to Bali. We traveled for 3 years. And somehow we started kind of like tapping into the gifts that we didn't know we had. And one of them was writing, travel blogging. I began a travel blog and started working with travel agencies and hotels. And he was doing photography. We had a different business at the time and sold the business. Sold it to someone that had no money to pay us. And guess what? We didn't want the business anymore because we were tired of that lifestyle. The person wrote a beautiful letter and paid us over the length of 5-7 years, I think. And this is to tell someone, if you don't have money, it doesn't mean that you cannot achieve or have what you want. So I had the business I didn't want. We built a business. Actually, I shouldn't say I, because I didn't participate in that business much. But my husband built the business, and he was done with that journey. Someone else wrote the letter, took the business, and paid us over time. And then we started the new chapter, because every 7 years we have a new chapter in our lives. So yeah, somebody else took the business, and we began the new chapter, kind of like getting familiar with the unfamiliar, For me, it was like writing and talking to business, hotels, and, like other industries that I came from sitting in a desk, people coming to me, bringing their money to me. Okay, what do I do with this? I'm like, okay, now I'm like on the other side. Now I have to go and ask people and share with people what I can do. And this is when a lot of people want to leave their jobs. And they're like, okay, how am I going to support myself? If they have a lot of earth in their designs, they want to know the how. And to me, it's like your path will present itself. You just have to have the courage to leave the comfort zone and then leave it up to the universe. I'm a manifestor. I'm here in Peru, back in Peru, because ayahuasca told me you have to get back to Peru. You're going to have to start spreading knowledge about plant medicine, because this is a lot of my healing journey had to do with a lot of the fears and just places of being uncomfortable. Plant medicine broke me into little pieces and to help me rebuild again. So yeah, it's not for everyone. I think plant medicine could help everyone, but a lot of people are afraid. They're not afraid to drink alcohol. They're not afraid to eat McDonald's, to put all of this toxicity in their bodies through food. But when, a plant that existed before any industry existed in the planet, we're afraid of that. Oh my gosh. Tell me about it.
Yeah. And when you quit your job, had you had an ayahuasca journey at that point, or did you discover plant medicine after you quit?
No, I didn't have. That's what it took me forever. That's what it took me forever. And I think I had to walk that path to understand what most people in the planet go through.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
this, I mean, I'm at 26 in my purpose. What is it? 26 shortcuts. I'm giving you a shortcut here. Most people are afraid, but I'm just telling you, shortcut. You know.
Yeah. A lot of the journeys I've also walked, I've said the same thing. I needed to have that experience so that I can be human and help other humans. And 2012, I also woke up very early. It was January of 2012. And I was a high school teacher in Southside Chicago, and I was supposed to go to an in-service that day. So no students. And I couldn't get out of bed. And so I didn't call anyone to tell them I wasn't coming in. I didn't even email my boss until like 2 p.m. to say, hey, I couldn't get out of bed today. I'm stuck. And I had this realization, I don't want to work here anymore. My ex-husband at the time, his dad had just passed away, and we were going to be moving back, and we weren't living in the same city. And I'm like, I can't be here. And 2012 is when I opened my first business. I had a CrossFit gym and sat in a park, and I'm a generator. So I just pulled people towards me. You manifested yourself to Bali. Like, I just generated myself into a business in 4 months of sitting in the park. I ended up with one more job teaching. And I also ended up with a very famous and well-known gym. And then I woke up again, and that life wasn't good enough. And I love how you talk about the how just like shows up. That's a really hard concept to tell people.
Fears.
Right? It's a leap of faith. And when I sold the gym and got divorced and packed up my car and moved to New York, in hindsight, maybe I should have gone to an island. But when I met people, they're like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I have a 4-month sublet. I got money. Everybody but what's your plan? I'm like, well, my plan is to bump into people. I have a 3rd-line attractor. I didn't know that at the time. And also I have a 1-line body. So I'm very cautious, but at the same time, right. I have evidence to show that, like I moved to Chicago with a U-Haul, $600 and a job interview to be a tennis coach. And I ended up as a director 3 months later. So I think my body just remembered, hey, and this time you don't have a U-Haul, it's just a car, and you got way more than $600 in your account. So it's going to be fine. I think my body had already had that previous experience after college, which nothing feels scary at 22. At 32, it could have felt a lot more scary, I suppose. But whenever I meet women that talk about their story, it's so interesting that 2012 was big for us in many ways. Like, there was an awakening, and I didn't think it was an awakening at the time. And then in 2015, for me, it didn't feel like an awakening at the time. It felt like a crashing and a falling apart of everything around me. But at some point in there, I told someone something I would never say out loud again. I said, I'm destined for bigger things. I don't know why I said that. And now I kind of have an idea of maybe why I said that.
Yeah, I don't know where I read. I think Raoul Who talks about it, that we start making an impact at around 40 years old. It has to do with the Uranus opposition. And everything that we lived prior to that is just been practiced to get us to where we're at now. So we can go into, just making an impact, creating an impact.
Yeah, I always talk about 38 to 40 to 42 is very pivotal time, right? At 38, I got to have a pandemic. I think that's how old I was when that happened. I got to go through a worldwide pandemic. And again, in January, I was born in March, like the 88 days before shows up in January for me. And in January, I founded my company, not with the intention of leaving my job. COVID said, yeah, we're going to rush this one along. We don't have time to wait for you to feel safe. And it's always about the money. And so to your point, it shows up when it needs to show up. I'm a 6-line money, so I feel that deeply.
Money. Ooh, maybe we should do an episode just about money, because when I was in banking, I got to sit with hundreds of people over a decade. And I got to see the stories behind money and so many fears around money, and it's not even money, is energy. If you are in the right frequency, somehow you're going to manifest that money coming to you. It's just going to come. And this is what the universe has shown me. Sometimes it comes in the funniest things, not by working. I don't work, Terry. I don't know if you knew about this about me. I don't work. It's been at least 5 years since I had a job. And I'm working on the project, yes, but I mean, like the money that sustains me to have the lifestyle that I love. I'm a 45 key. What is the 45? Life loves to have like the life of a queen. You know, we love our fucking comfort. But money comes to me in the funniest ways. And when I just sit and watch, and I'm like, I don't even have to work. It's just, I mean, I have one land that was given to me in Bali, and I turned that into a rental property, and that generates income to us. You know, it comes. I mean, I shouldn't say just me because my husband was a big part of it. I mean, he has some codes that for creative study, living all of that. But yeah, then I was giving another piece of land here in Peru. And then the way I came here, I mean, it's just like money has come to me, and someone is just giving me a donation of X amount of dollars, like just to go with my project. And I'm like, what the heck? I mean, it's just trusting. That's the Jinky 55, freedom. And the freedom of like not being attached of the house, you know? And this is like what society has, this is where there is a lot of conditioning. I need to get a job. I need to get like an 8 to 5 job. I need to make an income. And we forgot to manifest and to ask and to connect to the higher power. You know what I mean? Because it's all energy, and someone in the right frequency will support that business that you want to start. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that things come for free, but if you are in the right frequency and you're doing things from the heart, someone will connect to that energy, you know, will receive that frequency. Whatever you want to manifest, it will be there. Hey, I want to help you with that, you know. I don't know why, but I want to help you. But it's getting over the fear mentality. And that's, yeah, I mean, if you have like activations in the spleen center, that's where you can see all the, I think there is 9 activations there. If you have multiples there, that could be one of the reasons you are not able to move, you know, because there is so much fear at the lower frequencies. So
yeah, I feel that. I have a lot of activations there.
me too. You have no idea the amount of work I had to do, energetic work I had to do, not physical work.
So you leave your job, you go to Bali, you have this calling to go to Peru. Tell us a little bit about what the work is that you're doing now and the retreats and how people can connect.
We're just beginning. I came back to Peru about, I think it was September of, what year is it? 2026, right? 24. September 2024 is when I come to the Sacred Valley and get settled. Well, I mean, to get to this point, I mean, I have to tell you the story, right?
Yeah.
I lived in Bali for about 5-6 years. During the pandemic, I was there. And it was funny how I got there and I got stuck and I could not live there. And it was like a journey of like going super deep into healing. Like I didn't work. And I was blessed to have like 4 people working at my villa. So I had a nanny and gardeners, and my meals were made, you know, and I feel it was the universe preparing me for what was coming. So I could have all the time in the world to work on myself. This is the way I see it now, how all the pieces, because yeah, it was just all divine. It was all prepared. Boom! I rented this villa. This guy had a bunch of bookings. All of those get canceled, you know, because of COVID. And then he tells me, like maybe 6 months after I was renting that villa, he's like, you know what, just take care of my employees. This is your villa. This is how it was given to me. Yeah, it's like it's a beautiful, beautiful villa. It's located in the block where the Four Seasons Resort is located. It's like some of the most expensive resorts in Bali are located. I was given a villa there by a beautiful man that never met me. but he could hear the frequency of my voice, probably, of what I was intending to do, long term. Well, yeah. And I was there just working on myself. Like I was doing a lot of mushrooms and doing a lot of journaling. Oh, crying about my childhood. This is how I realized, all of this work that I was doing to please my dad was because I wanted attention, because I didn't receive his love. So that all came in Bali. So I was working on all of my childhood traumas and pain and suffering. And then one day I'm in my garden and I receive a message: you must go to Peru and get ayahuasca. And I'm like, uh-huh. So that day, I'm like looking for plane tickets, and 3 months after, I'm like in Peru. Not to come visit my family. I thought Bali was home, to be honest. I thought this is the place that I'm going to stay here forever. But I guess it was just a place for me to go and do a lot of healing, because the reason, the placement of Bali, energetically speaking, is very powerful. It will make you face your shit. I mean, if people they're avoiding their shit, send them to Bali. Send them to Bali. Send them to Peru. You cannot avoid it. It's like it has to do with the planetary placement, the energy. So I get the message: come to Peru, and yeah, I do 2 ayahuasca ceremonies. And like the first 2 ceremonies, like the portals get open, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. Well, I was told that I needed to come back to Peru, and I needed to bring the human design gene keys embodiment school and work with plant medicine. And I needed to, didn't say to target, but the medicine told me that I needed to bring awareness to people in the human design and gene keys communities about plant medicine. Because the medicine told me is that all of these people are already into their designs, their codes, they're gigging, they're nerds about their design, but it's in the mental plane, but they're having a hard time embodying the design. And what the medicine does, it prepares the body. You know what I mean? It prepares your body. My glass is empty now, but I always give an example. Our bodies is full of water, of conditioning, and in order to bring all of these beautiful codes, all of these beautiful gifts that we all carry, like we all bring something very unique into our bodies for the benefit of the planet. But if your glass, if your body is full of conditioning, all of these, like, you're not able to do this, you need that, how can you bring all of these gifts into play? You can memorize it, you can preach, you can tell me all you want, but if your life is not reflecting what those codes are telling you, what you're meant to do, you got to work on the body. So I always tell people, begin in the body. Forget about human design, human gene keys for a moment, or any other course, that you're following, because some people are into astrology, so there are so many beautiful courses out there. But if your body is not supporting that, you got to heal the body. Gene key 46, the love of the body.
Yes, I always love you. I live with the 4629 guy. And yeah, I've learned a lot. I don't have a full experiential wave of energy, so I always love to see that.
I have the 46. I have the 46.1, 46.6. I have it in my Saturn and Mercury. Beautiful, isn't it? How it manifests. I have to fucking live. I have to fucking struggle, suffer, see myself like, oh my gosh, I want this, but for some reason I cannot talk. My throat chakra was blocked. So the medicine were like, when I was in Bali, they were telling me they were healing my throat chakra, mushrooms. They were healing my throat chakra so I could come and speak, because they told me, you here, I'm a manifestor, line 5 in the body. I'm here to communicate. I'm here to create impact. But I wasn't always this way. There was a lot of energetic work that I had to do to be able to feel comfortable and come and talk to you in front of camera and all of that. Yeah. So otherwise I would be like, no, Katie, I can't talk. I want to, but my body's like resisting. I can't, but
yeah. Hearing you tell that story, it makes so much sense what my journey was with finding. I found the Jovian archive, like pulled my human design, and I took mushrooms right after that. I'd never done them before. My husband, it's COVID. I don't have a job. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And that was my splitting apart. And it took about 6 months later because I got the grippy sock psychiatric treatment from a psychosis that I went into. I never came down from the mushrooms. And yet many things I said, like at one point, I'm like, we're going to burn Twitter down. Well, Elon did. I wasn't wrong. And just 6 months later, as I'm like recovered from that journey, and luckily for me, I have a father who's rescued me from the hospital and said, we're not putting you on, you don't have bipolar, you don't have schizophrenia, we're not putting you on those drugs. It was helpful to have people around me because I have medical community people around me that are saying the opposite. Went home and just restructured myself back. But then I come back into human design. And that was rebuilding myself essentially from just my own design. And it was so beautiful for me to see, oh my God, I've lived my whole life like this in such a beautiful, I can't help it. I have the 57-34-10. Like, you can't tell me nothing. And I've got the 6-24. You can't brainwash me, but you can emotionally manipulate me in my solar plexus. And that's wide open. And that's two emotional authority parents. And that's where my deconditioning really was I was carrying all of these emotions that were stuck there. And when I had my first business was a gym. So talk about moving your body and being able to move things through that. And then I had a woman on my podcast when I moved to Knoxville who said Gene Keys is where it's at. And she was a 5/1 manifester and a psychic medium. And she was not wrong. I went to Gene Keys and dove right in. And I love that he has created poetry as a business. It's amazing to me. And what I found in the community, similar to you, is that embodiment isn't there. I didn't have a choice but to embody my body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people are just doing it automatically, but a lot of people they have activations. Air signs: Libra, Aquarius. What's the other one? But yeah, there are some people. I mean, like the Pisces, the Scorpios, the Cancers. They're so connected to the emotions. They're to me they're more advanced. This is how I see it, because even though sometimes we see it as dramatic, I believe that they're not escaping like most of us are in society.
Mm.
Yep. Oh, I'm a practical person. Yeah, but fuck, you're not willing, or you don't want to face your shit. You know what I mean? You're not practical. You're just putting all of these emotions underneath. You know what I mean? Like, so in the back burner, so you don't see them. And that's what's it's like a blockage, basically. It's a blockage. So, yeah, I mean, some people are, like doing it without plant medicine, and bravo for them that they're able to do all of this without plant medicine. But for me, I go with periods without the medicine and just integration, and I can see the difference. Like, even the other day, I was just having I had three capsules of San Pedro Huachuma, and this medicine, it opens up your heart, and it was so beautiful because it was funny because I finished the certification course for the Gene Keys guide in December, but I forgot to submit the page that they put you on their website. So that day, it was, I don't know, divine intervention, I guess. I didn't know why I took the 3 capsules, and I sat upstairs and I was like, oh, I have to fill out this form. So I get there, but at the same time, I can see the openings of my heart. And I'm like answering all these 10, 12 questions. How did the activation sequence transform you? And I'm like pouring in tears, telling my story, like, oh, my mother, oh, he helped me understand my husband, oh, he helped me, like, fuck, I was like pouring. And this is what medicine does. For someone that is not so connected, or it doesn't come so easily to connect with emotions, earth sign. I have a lot of earth and air signs in my design, like 70%. So I have air Pisces, but it's like 10%, 15, 20%. It's not much compared to everything else. So it's a battle for me, And when I started realizing, I'm like, I just have a little bit of San Pedro, and it puts me in tears. And I'm like, wow, it's just like opening up the doors, So all the water, all the emotions can come, and be expressed. So that's why I started realizing the importance of the medicine, for those people that have a really hard time connecting. And there is a lot of us, more like 70%.
One of them. That's why it was such a profound experience for me. And this is why it's important that you do them not recreationally, but with someone that is there to hold that space for you.
Yeah.
And it's funny, a few seasons ago, I had Katie Redford on the podcast, and she was in Costa Rica using gene keys and plant medicine. And the woman that owned the retreat center was not necessarily Gene Keys, but Katie was. And I find it fascinating to see that there are more of you that are doing this work and helping people heal and embody.
We can see the connections, because a lot of people here in the Sacred Valley, they serve ayahuasca, for example. But just from being here, witnessing what happens when you drink plant medicine, it could be mushrooms, it could be any type of medicine, and you don't have integration process, if you don't have a map, yes, you can feel more relaxed, you can feel more cool, but there is no map. What do you follow? And for me, I mean, I kind of been doing things, and having my map, it kind of reinforced what I was doing, you know what I mean? And it just told me to be careful. Like, for example, as a manifestor, one of the things that I have to be careful is not getting my hands dirty, and not because it's bad, because I forget about where I'm going, So, and part of delegation has been like a huge task for me, learn, because I have the 45, which wants to have dominance and wants to know every little piece about how the process is running. And now I'm like, I hired a project manager, and he's amazing, and I just let him he's a project generator, and I can see him working 14 hours a day, and I'm like, because he's passionate. And I think I told you that I want you to make an interview for him, because he's a wealth of knowledge he also has a big background with the corporate world, and also has been diving into plant medicine, over 100 ayahuasca journeys, like a lot of wisdom in his body. But he's a generator, and he works beautifully by my side, because he has the Gene Key 42 and I have the 53. I can begin things, he'll help me finish things.
Yes. I'm a great, I just talked on a podcast yesterday. I have the 42 in my EQ. I'm a great it's the 42.5. I'm a great closer of cycles. When you come my way, we are closing some type of cycle for sure.
Yes. So he has beautiful quotes that, I have the 43 epiphanies, and plant medicine, it's a different world. Boom, boom, and he comes with the 23 translator. Okay, we're just going to make it more, so people can understand you, Carmen, he brings the 23, he plugs me in, and I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful to see embodying, because we can read in books all you want, but it's fascinating when you come in touch with other people and see how they complete you, like these electromagnetic channels. I love it. I love watching all of these kids in motion, not just in the book. Because there are some codes that are fucking like abstract. What do I do with these, But when you have real people, it's something else. And this is part of my mission, to create an embodiment school and bring together the human design, gene keys, astrology, all of this ancient wisdom. But not only to memorize the codes, but okay, let's put them to work. Okay, you're an amazing communicator. We're going to put you in front of a camera. You're you're getting the voice out there. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do that with my clients.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here to show you, like, I look at how does this show up for you, because I do bring the practicality, and I love that you bring in this embodiment piece as
That's my
well.
46, which is my
Yeah.
Saturn, the lessons I had to learn. And then the point six, I'm here to teach, you know?
Yes.
And a little bit of, I noticed that there is a little bit of fear and resistance for me to do that. And I'm like, fuck it, you're never going to be ready. You know, just bring those bodies here.
Well, then, as I hate to wrap up, but we have to wrap up because I have other things to do. What is your superpower?
My superpower, yeah, that I bring these spiritual, healing modalities, and I also I'm a Virgo, practicality also 9/5 practicality. So it's not only that I'm the work that I'm doing is like mixing both worlds, the spiritual world and the practical world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not only gonna bring you into journeys with me, but let's put all of these gifts that you brought into your body into action so you can serve your community. So that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's your purpose?
My purpose, that just help people embody their designs, embody their designs.
Mm.
And I use plant medicines for that. Yeah.
And my favorite question I ask everyone, what's next for you?
I don't know. I don't live like that, Katie. I'm like, I just surrender to the higher power.
Maybe meeting me in person in
Yeah,
Peru.
please come here so you can do this work with me.
Yeah.
Seriously, because one thing is to read in books, another thing is to live this. And I think you had the 1034, right? The channel 10. I told you, channel of awakening. I mean, the power that you have inside of you, it's massive. And a lot of the shamans that I work with have that channel of awakening. You haven't stepped into this world yet. So I'm
You've
waiting
already
here.
awakened some of that.
There is an event.
I have a
Yes.
note right here. It says Carmen's Insights, and I wrote down things like you do activate people. I know when you were in Utah, you activate people simply by just the words that you say. I've held on to
It's the
that.
frequency. It's the frequency manifested line 5 body. Yeah. We're
I
having
always,
an event. Let me just finish with this,
yeah.
Katie. There is an event, a 7-day retreat that we're having in June, and we're bringing different medicines, and then we'll go into all of these codes and all of that as well. Maybe you can include our website later on,
Yes. Yep.
um, and the details to the retreat. Okay.
Will
Thank you
do.
so much.
Yes.
Thank
And then
you, Katie.
I always give our guests the last word. What would you like to leave everyone with?
Uh, just to pause for a moment and breathe more. Do more of that. Just breathe. Shut down everything else. We don't do that enough. Breathing, just come back to the body, that presence. We don't